Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. I might need to turn myself up. Check. Can I get a smile in the chat if you can hear me okay? I'm using a new mixer today. New mixer. Are the levels okay? Levels are good? Yeah? Nice. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Coding Garden. Today, we are going to be working on the inventory app, which we have not touched in over a month. I'm very quiet. I mean, I could turn on my gain a little bit. Check. Whoa. Wow. Is that too loud? Wow. That's probably good enough. Let me know. I guess it's better to be loud so that people can turn me down. A bit of static in the background. You might be hearing my fan from my laptop. Maybe? Is that what it is? I don't know. Blue screen is off on the top. You're not wrong. That's a little bit better. You can see more of my t-shirt now, too. Look at that. Background noise confirmed. Okay, here, I'm going to turn my mic down. Let me know if you still hear the noise after I turn my mic down. Check. And now you're telling me that there's static in the background. Well, it might not be static. Okay, here's what I need. I need people that have actually been here before to talk to me. So, people that have actually been here before and know how I sound. Do you hear my fan, or do you hear actual static? Some static. Alka, thank you very much for that resub. I wonder why I didn't say how long. 5 months! They've been here since the beginning. Fan and static. Well, that's not good. Here, I'm gonna... bear with me, everyone. We are just getting started. Thank you, Queeter, for that Twitch Prime sub. We are just getting... Sounds like a fan, not static. It's my laptop fan. That's all it is, right? Cool. Appreciate you. Thank you, Metsubo. I realize it's your first time here. At least I think I saw that in the chat. Thank you for being honest. We're in a hype train, everyone. This is how we usually get started. We've had a few support events. Refactor with the 5-month resub. Peyton Rules with the raid. Welcome, Raiders. We're just getting started. Alco with the 5-month resub. Queeter with the Twitch Prime sub. And Folky Bits with the 2-month Tier 1 resub. Yes. Hype train. And Julian, thank you for the 50 bits. DigiCrest, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Cool. It's my fan. This is the regular background noise that we get on my stream. This is the ambiance that you get while hanging out here at the Coding Garden. Okay. Welcome. And thank you very much, Jamoke Dev, for the 250 bits. So if you have not heard of the inventory app, this is an app that we've been working on for a while now. And it all started. It all started as a way of showing more complex database design. And I will show you here this database design. And thank you for the supports. What was that? What just happened? Pyramid Pixels, thank you for the 100 bits. So this is not it. This is it. Never mind. This is it. So this was months ago that we started this. And Blustered, thank you very much for that Twitch Prime resub. Thank you for this great content. Oh, you're very welcome. I can adjust my microphone all day if you like that kind of content. Yeah, a lot of people found me from this stuff too. And DJ CJ, thank you for the 100 bits. Missed your last stream. Glad I could catch this one. Yeah, glad you could be here. And Hypnotize, thank you for that sub. Much appreciated. And Slick Will with 100 bits. Okay, but this is it. Well, in a bit, we'll talk about the specifics of this particular database model. But this really all started as a way of talking about how you would design a more complex database, because most of the tutorials that are out there on the web focus on a single table or maybe two tables. They don't really talk about legitimate database design. So the first episode was just designing this thing. And then we gradually implemented it in Postgres. With node.js, we used JavaScript here. We used a library called Connects. We implemented the schema slowly. It took us a while. And then now we're working on the REST API. And Terrazoid, thank you for that 4-month resub. I don't know. Did I see it? I don't know if I saw it or not. But thank you very much. Yeah, so that's the database. If you do this, you'll get a link to this, which has all of those exact same links. The other thing is all the code is open source. You can look at it here. We're currently working on the back end. And Skort, 1907, thank you for that sub as well. All of the past episodes are on YouTube. So you can see that we are on episode 11-ish. And people really like this stuff. If you look at the first episode, it has 70,000 views. That's 70,000 people that wanted to see how a database was designed. So that's interesting. So yeah, you can, if you do !working on, you can get a link to all this stuff. And we'll get working on it in like an hour, because we have to say hello to everyone first. And mainly what we're going to be working on is the REST API. So last time we did work on the items routes. So if you take a look at the API, you can take a look at items. We worked on the routes for creating items, specifically baked beans. Can we get some bean emotes in the chat? That's it. Thank you for coming. Yeah. And Mike Hayes, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. A lot of support this morning. I appreciate you all. Yeah. So we have our very own bean emote, very much inspired by the inventory app, which we will talk about. So if you're new here, I'm going to show you how the things work. There's lots of stuff happening on my screen. I'm going to do my best to explain what's happening, but also just take it all in. It's a lot. But if you all could join me, if you are a sub, type !drop followed by a bean emote, and that will make a bean fall from the sky, just like so. You also can drop any other emote you want, or if you type drop me, that will drop your avatar, like this. And if it lands in the coding garden, it didn't land in the coding garden, but if it does, then you'll get your name on the screen, like this. Who's this? Who is that? There you go, Hacks. Great drop. Great drop. That's a decent drop. The closer you are to the center, the bigger your name and seedling will be. Awaited. Good job. Got some regulars in the garden. Who's that? Okay, Otter. Welcome. Refactor, thank you for the 100 bits, who says beans. Beans. Myasin, great job. And I am a bus. I am Bambus? I think you're a bus. But thank you for the supports. I don't know. I say thank you sometimes because I'm so used to saying thank you. It's even sometimes when I shouldn't say thank you. But this is the drop game. You can drop whenever you want. That's one thing. The other thing is I need to blow my nose. So give me a second. Okay, I'm back. I also had to sneeze. Okay. This is my chat overlay. You can see that some people in the chat overlay have a country flag next to their name, or they have a badge next to their name. Like Alka has the United States flag, and I actually don't know what that team badge is. IAM has the India flag. Infi has the Germany flag. I actually don't know what flag this is. I believe that's the Mexico flag from Alex. So if you want to set that, you can do that right now. Oh, for sure. Actually, my family is, and some of my family is affected by Laura. So yeah, quick shout out. Anybody, I mean, here's the thing. If you're affected by Hurricane Laura, you probably can't watch this right now because you don't have power. But John, thank you for the 100 bits. Longtime lurker, usually watch on YouTube. Glad to be here. Well, I'm glad you could be here too, George. And DV Man with that Twitch Prime sub. Baked beans. Thank you very much. Yeah, but yes, shout out to, I mean, if you have family you know, my thoughts are with you, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's the hurricane that happened here in the U.S. Okay, here we go. How do you set your flag? Did anybody do the command? This is the command. So this tells you everything you need to know on how to set your flag or your team badge. So if you want to set your country flag, you can do ! Country followed by your 2-character country code. For me, it's US. For you, it's probably something else, depending on where you are in the world. But after you do that, you will see that it has your flag next to your name. And then the other thing is you can set your team. So if you go to this page, which is the Font Awesome brand cheat sheet, this has a list of all the possible teams that you can join. Let's see what team we're going to join today. Oh, Alco's from Team DigitalOcean. I see. I'm going to go with Elo. It's nice and simple. It's a little smiley face. So you can pick anything. Yeah. Yeah, anyone directly or indirectly affected, for sure. Pick a name from this page, and then thank you all for that hype train. I appreciate you. And then if you type !team, followed by anything from that page, it will show up. So I have the Elo. You can see that free debugs has a horse. Or is that the sticker mule? That might be a mule. I think that's sticker mule, isn't it? So you can do that. Yes, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland for the win. Hey, what's up, Melky Dev? Welcome to the show. Check out Melky Dev. They're a member of our Live Coders team. Hi. Yeah, thank you all for that support. Let's talk about it real quick. I think I talked about all these. I might thank you twice, but if I do, you get thanked twice. Scout, thank you for that 1-month tier 1 resub. Mike Hayes with a Twitch Prime sub. Refactor with 100 bits. John with 100 bits. Snake with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much. DV Man with a 3-month Twitch Prime resub. And Snake with that Twitch Prime sub. Thank you all for the supports. I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm going to turn on the LEDs. Just because they're fun. They're fun. I realize that not all of you like what I'm talking about today, because we work on a lot of different things here. And some of you wanted me to do other things, but we have... I don't know what I wanted to say. It's time. Time is a thing. We only have so much time. We can only do certain things. So today we're working on the inventory app. That's it. Yeah, I've thought about this. Fawazorg is allowing people to set their pronouns, their preferred pronouns. That would be awesome, because it's really hard to tell. I mean, I don't know if you can tell someone's pronouns just by looking at their Twitch name. But yeah, Nando's is here for whatever. Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Clink. One thing at a time. Okay. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. Adding your pronouns in the overlay. I think that's how this works. Yeah, it depends on the name. But also you can't assume, because I don't know what you prefer just by, yeah. Yeah, well, so, okay. This is the one scenario where your pronoun is actually in your name, so, yeah. My preferred pronoun is chat. Yeah, actually, I don't know how I feel about, like, wait, did I already start it up? I started it up. Okay. I'm trying to multitask. My name is Fawaz. I'm not even going to guess. I'm not even going to guess what your pronouns are. You would have to tell me. Oh, look at that. It's already running. Okay. There's a little bit of this. Do-do-do-do. Oh, no. Oh, no. Pronouns and tech stack. Yeah, I mean, that was the point of the team badges, is so that you could kind of, like, show your preferred language or framework, but the tricky part about that is that, what do you call it? Font Awesome doesn't have all the different languages. So we've talked about making our own set of badges that are where you can set whatever language you want. But I don't know. A Java web dev? What? That's not even a thing. Or I guess it is. You could create Java applets. Are Java applets even supported anymore? I mean, you could create APIs with Java, but you would still need JavaScript to run them on the, or use the data on the client. We use JavaScript here. Okay, so this is the LED thing. This is another thing you can do while I'm busy working on API stuff. Is in the chat. If you type exclamation mark LED followed by 8 zeros or ones. That makes no sense, but I just turned them all off. You can see that it will turn on the corresponding bit in relation to the number that you send. Yeah, and there's like a 60-second timeout or so on this, so you can do this once every 60 seconds. And we'll just leave that running right about here. Well, I broke it. Should be fine now, right? That should be fine. Does it look good? Is it good enough? This is my break timer. Let's take a quick stretch. We're just getting started. Good enough. Good enough. I am new here. What is this? I don't even know what this is, but welcome. Glad you could make it. All right. We've gotten some follows. I'm going to say hi to all the new followers. Durgoto, thank you for that follow. Jack, thanks for following. Dexter, hello. Hypnotize. Hyptonize. It's hypnotize misspelled. Well, that's fine. I'll call you hyptonize. Wait, is it misspelled? No, that's not I'm curious. How do you spell hyptonize? Hypnotize. Hypnotize, not hyptonize. Thanks for the follow. Nap Shooter, how's it going? Thank you for the follow. Metsubo, thanks for being here. What's up, Codeview? And Kuba. And Sangurima. And Paul. And Dennis. And Zabadu. And Be My Friend. Welcome to the show. Hello, Ninu and Limits Break and Kiran and Get Destroyed and Alira. Welcome to the show. Hello, Gunnard and Snake and Mix Pizza and Sam and 420 LOL and 2602. Welcome to the show. Hello, Hamza, Litsan, Ferret Lightbulb, LOL Just Kidding, Boxing Mayo, Sean Cameron, Cosmic or Cosmin. Thank you all for following. Can we get some hearts in the chat? Welcome all the new people. Here at the Coding Garden, we have the Coding Heart. That's what we do here. And thank you to Juizven. All right. We have some redemptions too. You may not have noticed, but I increased the price of hydrates and stretches just to limit the number of redemptions that happen. But Mickey, thank you for that hydrate. Cheers to you. Jeremy, also with a hydrate. Dusty Posy with the posture check. Stand up straight, everyone. Or sit up straight, depending on what you're doing. And Danny Lauren, thank you for those 50 bits. Smiley face. Smiley face Yerba. And Ace. AC's 24. ACS? Thank you for the stretch. The reason I look at it is because I used to watch, I haven't watched them in a while, but a couple streams. Anybody else watch a couple streams? What is their name? Their name is like ACS. It's not ACS 24, but it's like a couple streams? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody? Anybody? Stand up sitting straight, everybody. Maybe not. But they have like a band, I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, obviously they have a band because they play music. Here it is. ACS. A couple of streams. There it is. Check them out. Shout out to them. They're awesome. I haven't watched them in a long time, but some quality Twitch entertainment. Yeah. Shout out to them. Check them out. Okay. Thank you for that stretch. Robin, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. And Blanky, ACS. I've watched a couple of streams. I don't know why I'm stretching when I should be hydrating. I don't know. Cheers, Slig. Thank you for the hydrate. Nuelinko. Thank you very much. Procrastinating watching CJ. Also, thank you for the hydrate. Thank you for the stretch. We're just getting started, everyone. Just getting started. The rate of hydrate is pretty high. I do agree. Thanks for that posture check, ACM, and procrastinating watching CJ. And the last hydrate comes from System 1100 Space. Okay, not the last one. I'm just gonna be. This is a hydrate stream, is what it is. Nualinko, thank you for that hydrate. And Alex, thank you as well. All right, I'm drinking fresh squeezed Red Bull, and then we have water in the invisible cup. Thank you, Ripley, for that focus mode. We'll use it after we say hello to everyone, because we still haven't said hello to everyone. But we're gonna do a speed round. So if you would like me to acknowledge you, you can say hi, hello, hey, morning, afternoon, evening, howdy, g'day, coding hiyo, vohiyo, or bo. I really don't know why that happens. B, O, G. One letter at a time, everyone. That's how we're gonna have to do this. Does anyone know what I'm about to type? Yeah, Boga Hey is what I'm typing. Boga. Okay. H. E. All right. We're getting there. One letter at a time. Boga Hey. So yeah, if you say any of these things, what's up, Blue Monster? If you say any of these things, I will acknowledge you. And we're going back in time. I'm also a bit late today, unfair. And what's up, sidetracking, Boga Hey? We're going back to, surprisingly, an hour ago. The very first hello in the chat was P1 Simba. Hello. All right, lightning round. We're not going to spend more than 5 minutes. I mean, I say this. We're going to see where I get in 5 minutes. 5.5 minutes. Let's see how many people I can say hello to in 5.5 minutes. Lakshman, hello, what's up, Sequel Gordster, and Helion, and Esser Halo, and Awaited, and Effie Baumel, and Slake, and Acelera, and Short, and Function Jarvis, and Bluefing, and Draculente, and Shines Love, and Julian, and I Satisfied, and This Code Rocks, and Olaf, welcome, hello, Hebas, and Blackbeardgent, and Mantron, and Blackclaw, and Welf, Coding Pasta, and Ehab, and DevIm, and DevTerp, and Overdrive, and Hacks, and Richard Me, and Don, and Turtle Monkey, and Danielle, and Refactorer, and Nubit was here. Welcome, hello, Element here, and DJ CJ, and Sharon Cherry, and Someone Amazing, and Legal Zeus, and Mark, and Lego Jedi Mind Trick. What's up? Finally made it. What's up, Morpheus, and Jim McDonald? Welcome back, and Leo Guy. Thanks for merging my PR. Oh, that's awesome. Can we get some hearts in the chat? First PR. Great work. Congrats. First pull request. Go open source. T1H2H0 will only be partly watching today as I try to get my head around WebRTC with Firebase. Oh. Yeah, you could use Firebase as a signaling mechanism. I see it. But hello, what's up, Jonas? And Draper, and Coning Ball, and Orbite, and you, Tori, and Golden Way, and Drunk Time Lord. What's up, J. Pramar, and Marlon, and Dr. Phantom. Hello, GM Awesome. Welcome to the show. What's up, Fawazor? I think you said your name was Fawaz, didn't you? I don't know. Alex, how's it going? What's up, Terrazoid? And Danny Larn. I make my dinner while you say hello. Nice. Yes. So that was 30 minutes ago. You're probably still making dinner, but that's okay. Mutant Spew, how's it going? What's up, Arm Pie, and ACM, and Fistrand, and Casper, and Chromium, and Command Stroke, and Soiska, and Kapachi, and Antun, and Dev Henrique, and Sven, and Samya, and BS Chief Keef, and Hyptonize, and Silver Design, and Yugi, and Jay Getachu. It's been a while. Welcome, Jay Getachu. Yeah. Thanks for being here. What's up, Real Doofy, and Naptakar, and Leo Leon, and Julian. Hello. What's up, X Palma, and Free Debugs, who, is talking about something else, but what's up, Free Debugs? And Pseudo, how's it going? Hello, Tuzo, and Win320 Day. I feel like it's been a few streams since we've seen you as well. Welcome back. What's up, Franny? Open source software, maybe. I don't know if OSS stands for that, but how's it going? What's up? I am Nuji, and Oknot, and Paper, and Sir Goldman, and Myasin, and Telsky, and Monoloito, and Sangurima, and Vignesh, and Infi, who says mornings are actually a very good time because the morning in his time zones are afternoon in my time zone. It's like that, and I feel like there's a lot of overlap between when it's morning for me and when it's a decent time to watch for other people. I don't know. Yes, that's what OSS stands. I mean, I don't know if that's what it stands for in their username. What's up, Blue? Thank you for the nice wishes. What's up, Mickey, and Razael, and Raleigh, and Bath Bomb, and Jamoke Dev, and I am. Welcome. What's up, Yetsin, and Eat Toby, and Dimitri, and Hamza, and Aces, and Alka, and Nandos, and Hello, Chicken. Hello. What's up, Robin? Rabinimus, and Fairland, and Queeter, and Lied, and Fiddlewalk, and Hamza. Hello. What's up, Akumanera? And I am a bus. That's probably not how you say your name, but I am Bumbus. I am a bus. From the Czech Republic, welcome. What's up, Foggy Bits, and CC Gaming Twitch, and the OxD, and Jeff, and Uber Drive By, and Fishy Coding, and Pro Designs, and Yukarai, and Eternal Dev Coder, and Enzo, and Matrix, and Philippe, and Manlaya, who says, I'm new here. What is this? Welcome to the Coding Garden. This is usually how we start every stream. We tell everyone how to do the things on the screen. You've got the drop game. Can everyone show them how the drop game works? You've got the LEDs. Can everyone show them how that works? You've got our overlay here where you can set your country flag or your team. There's probably other things I'm missing. So there's that. You kind of just hang out, and we're going to write some code pretty soon. I say pretty soon. That's another thing. Whenever I say soon, it usually does not mean soon. But welcome. I'm glad you could be here, Manlaya. And Pixel Community Project, how's it going? What's up, DV Man? Day's going okay. What's up, the bosses and system? Why did I choose Objection instead of Prisma? I had not heard of Prisma until I saw Ben Awad do a video on it. But I still prefer Objection, even having looked at Prisma. Because Prisma, like, is TypeScript stuff? I don't know. We'll talk about that in a bit when we talk about models and database stuff. What's up, funny dude? Good morning. Thank you for being here. What's up, Binary King, and Lope, and Seb, and Chris, and Denny, and ZZB, and Raven Master, and Timur, and Nebula Razar, who says, check out Seedling Drop V2. You added a PR. Okay, I'll take a look. And Huiven, how's it going? What's up, Tropical Shadows, and Josh Bash, and Chad with a C, thank you for being here. What's up, Kai Klin, and Nikos, and Unen, and John George, and Blue Monster, and Unfair, and Sidetracking, and Cozy, and Kusha. Look at all the Bogahays. Bogahay, everyone. What's up, Computer Chip Dip, ready to learn. What's up, Yazan, and What WBW, and Supa Cow, and Strange Computer Bandit, and Frusalad, and Nash, and Backlight, and Kabubo, and Nate, and Condor, and Sightseer, and Leo. What's up, Shot in the Dark, and Rise Soul, and Senek, and Lazy Pigeon. Procrastinating watching CJ. Bogahay. Bogahay. Are you a Boga sub, though? You gotta be a Boga sub. What's up, CBA? And Yakanth, and Philippe, and Mahim. I'm doing good. What's up, Raphael, and Chevywood, and Varun, and Snake, and Batchy, and Keysvon, and The Green, and Ice, and Sid, and Thad, and Sadiq, and Phoenix Rising, and Jonah Joe, and Cameron Codes, and Chet, and Kieran, and One Bomi, and Dennis, and the PW. We've done it, everyone. Look at this. With 3 seconds left to spare. If I have not said hello to you, just say hi. Like, Gian. Hello, Gian. Welcome to the show. Anybody else? Anybody else? Just say hi. What's up, SP Dean? Bogahay? Mind explaining why you chose REST API instead of GraphQL? Yeah, we can talk about that, mainly because I've never used GraphQL before. I'm used to REST. And that's what we do. But yeah, I'll talk about it. In Centura Store, welcome to the show. All right, that's it for the hellos. What's up, Jiao Rijo? Welcome to the show. I got a few follows as well. Just start coding already. You are not the only person that feels that way, but it's what we do. It's what we do here. And we got some follows. Manlia, welcome to the show. Hello, Wolf's Mule, and Yazana, and Apuft, and Tomas, and White Hat Dev. Thank you for being one of the nice guys. Welcome to the show. Vorpal Thunder, hello. What's up, SDK Ray? That's a good name. And Gian, thank you for those follows as well. We're going to do a focus mode. I'll use this focus mode to explain what the inventory app is. I can talk about some of my decisions as well as, like, why did I use JavaScript to structure the database instead of straight SQL? Why did I use REST instead of GraphQL? Why did I use Objection instead of some other ORM? Because as a developer, you need to be able to defend your decisions. But I guess not really. I use it because I'm comfortable with it. That's my defense. In Myasin, thank you for that. Stretch. Everyone stretch. Stretch if you have not stretched yet. Yeah, that's the other question. Why SQL over MongoDB? Mainly because if you have this many relations, you should not be using Mongo database. Straight up. Use a relational database. That's why we're using SQL. And Dr. Phantom, thank you for that posture check as well. All right, we got 2 focus modes. We got a hydrate, CBA. Thank you for the hydrate. Why did I use beans? Because that's what was within arm's reach. And this is a home inventory app. All right, let's go into focus mode. Thank you to Ripley and Blue Monster for these 2 focus modes. Let's do it, everyone. Let's talk about what we're gonna do, basically, or like what background knowledge. So for those of you that have not been here before, we're basically, for the next 16 minutes, This is focus mode. This is another thing that happens. It's harder for me to see the chat so that I can focus, as the name implies. Metsubo, thank you for that sub. You're new here, and you're subbing. You're nice. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All right, but here we go. So, the inventory app is a thing that started, I mean, it started a long time ago. Let's see when the very first stream was from. Let's see. Excuse me. This was uploaded March 19th. I guess we've talked about it before. This is kind of like a quarantine project. I did not mean for it to be a quarantine project, but we started it back in March, and we've been slowly working on it. But essentially, the very first episode, like I had not even planned on actually implementing this thing. The main idea was, how do you design a more complex SQL database, right? There's a lot of relationships here. And so the main goal of that first stream was we just wanted to design this thing. But having designed it, we now have decided that we're going to implement it. I've got your relational D right. Hey, wait, what? I don't know. What? Focus mode. Don't distract me. Okay. And Acid Spark, thank you for that 5-month resub. Who says, what comes after 4 months? 5. Thank you for being here, Acid Spark. Okay. So this is the database diagram, and when we designed it, and if you're curious about how we designed it and why we designed it, you can take a look at that first episode. Though the design has slowly evolved from that first episode. Like, the base design is mainly the same, but when it comes down to storing addresses and their related states and countries, that's changed a little bit, and also storing like the retailer ID, which comes from the same company table. So we've slowly evolved the design from the first episode, but it basically works like this. And this ultimately is the database that would be used for a home inventory application. So, I mean, an inventory application, you could compare that to the software that manages a warehouse, or the software that manages Amazon, or the software that manages a point of sale system in a store, right? You have a lot of things. You need to manage where they are in the place, how much do they cost, when were they purchased, when do they expire, all that good stuff. And that's what this database is made for, and specifically for my home. This is not going to be some enterprise inventory management system that anybody can buy. This is something that I wanted to build for myself, though it started back in March. Here's the thing. If I wasn't building it on stream, I'd be done by now. But that's neither here nor there. We're learning a lot as we go along. So this is the database, and the main idea is I want to be able to keep track of all my beans and other home-related items. What's up, Oknat now? 100 Bits says, have a good day, as every day. Oh, thank you, Oknat now. Much appreciated. Yes, I have things in my home, as you probably do as well. So I have cans of beans, I have cans of corn, I have cans of green beans, cans of peas, but not only canned food, I also have boxes of food, and stuff in my pantry, and not only food, I also have electronics parts and pieces, like this. I have so many just like little loose electronics parts, and electronics. There's a lot of things in my home, and the idea is this database would allow me to manage and keep track of all those things, including baked beans. So the whole database is surrounded, or is basically focuses on this item table, because the item table is where we will store the items that are in our inventory, such as a can of baked beans. But in the design of the database, we talked about why you wouldn't just store all the information in a single table, because you technically could, and a naive implementation would most likely just be one table, copper. Oh no, Oknot now. Thank you for that gifted sub to Copper. Much appreciated. But a naive implementation would be a single item table. You have all possible properties in that single item table, including like company name and company street address and different things like that. However, that doesn't scale, right? Because if we have 2 cans of baked beans and we have one row that has all of the same data in it, we now have duplicate data, and we have multiple sources of truth. And so, which is why we have multiple tables. So our item table is the core table that describes the item itself. And then when we talk about an instance of an item, that is the item info table. So this is time for you. I'm going to actually look at the chat. What is one thing that these 2 cans of beans might not be the same, might not have in common? What's one thing that might be different about these 2 cans of beans? Funny dude with the gifted stuff. I'm getting flashback to the early 2000s. 5 gifted! Ah, funny dude, thank you very much. And yeah, I see it in the chat, expiration date. UPC, I think, is the same. In this case, they're both the same type, so they actually do have the same UPC and product ID. But expiration date, what else? Manufacture date, right? When were they manufactured? When do they expire? The day they were bought. That's a good one, Blue Monster. Or what store were they bought from? There's a lot of things that are separate about them, and that's where I mean, honestly, you could just look at this table to see it, but that's where we're storing this information. So the general idea of the can itself, the item itself, gets stored here, which has like name and description, and then the specific information about each one is stored here. Yeah, and so cost if it was on sale. So we have the purchase price stored here. So I could have bought this on one day and paid $1.99. I could have bought this on another day and paid $2.99. And we store that information in the item info table. Last use is really useful to know if they're worth eating the reminder off. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Like, it's a problem. Like, I buy a lot of food, and then some food I don't eat, and then I end up having to throw it away. It's bad. It's a bad issue. So, if I can keep track of when it was last used, I could very easily sort and say, okay, show me the things in my inventory that have been in there for a long time and have not been used, and that lets me know, like, what food I should cook or eat or whatever, right? Why don't I use a polymorphism for item type, or ORM will handle that? So we do have item, like, yeah, so this is basically, could be like an enum type. We basically have like a lookup table here. I'm not familiar with polymorphism. I guess, is that like an enum type? Yeah. But yeah, right now there is no front end. It's just a database. It's just a few back-end routes. But yeah, item info stores specific things, and the idea there is if we wanted to calculate like how many cans of beans do I have in my inventory, I would select every row in the item info table where the item ID is equal to the ID of a can of beans, and that would give me the number in my inventory. And also where last used is null, meaning it has not been used and it still is in my inventory. And also we have deleted at, created at, updated at columns and all of these different tables as well. But along with that, I could have two different cans of bush baked beans. One is original, another one is something else, and we only have one entry for the company. So the company information is stored in the company table, but two different items can relate to the same company ID, or one or more, right? And so we put the information about the company in here. So Bush Brothers and Company, P.O. Box 52330. Oh, the address actually gets stored in a separate table, but the company name itself and its information gets stored here, and then we can reuse that ID on multiple different items. Okay, I think I talked about that way too long. There are other tables as well. So we're storing our company information, and if you're new to database design, whenever you see PK, that means primary key. That's the unique identifier in that table. And wherever you see FK, that's a foreign key. And the foreign key is a relation to some other table. And in the actual implementation, it's literally just an ID, a number, right? So that's another thing people get hung up on is why are we using unsigned integers for our IDs? It's because they're fast, and that's what you should do with SQL databases. If you're worried about people enumerating IDs of elements, then you can use some other unique identifier, but that has to do with your REST API, not your database itself. These are numbers, because that's how SQL databases work. And awaited, thank you for the 100 bits. What database normalization are you using? I have no idea. So here's the thing. There are specifics. You can talk about, like, it's normalized to level 1 or it's normalized to level 2. This is just enough normalization. It's normalized enough to where we won't have that much duplicate data. I guess we might have some duplicate data, but we're trying to eliminate data duplication for the most part. Third normal form, second normal form. Sure. I learned the concept of normalization. I never really learned about the different levels of it. I don't know. I think the thing is, like, in the real world and in the practical sense, you do it until it makes sense, right? You don't just do it because somebody told you need to be in 10th normal form. I realize that's not a thing. Regardless. Okay. That's our database. Great. Now we've actually started implementing it. So if you look at the repo, right now, it's literally just code. I mean, we have an API that we can spin up. It's talking to a database, but there is no UI. Eventually, probably, if I'm being honest, like a year from now, 0 login normal form. Eventually, we can build a front end around this. But the nice thing about starting with the API and building it all out and getting it all working is that we could put any UI in front of this. We could build a desktop app with C#. We could build a web app with any front-end technology, Vue, React, Vanilla, whatever you want. We could build a mobile app that's React Native or a native app, but they all could communicate with this same API that we're building. And so this is a Node.js-based API, and we have implemented all of the tables. So we're using a library called connects. Oknot, thank you for the 100 bits. This is not my final form. Soon. But this is the library that we're using. There are a lot of other libraries, but here's the thing. Connects.js is a query builder. It is not an object relational mapper. A query builder essentially allows us to write JavaScript code that gets directly turned into SQL code. There are no object relations. And this is what we used to do the DDL, the data definition language, or to describe the schema of all of the tables. So you can see that they have a schema builder here, and there's like a create table function where you can pass in the name of the table, and then you can specify all of your columns. Now, people have asked, why don't you just use SQL for that? I prefer this, and the reason is you can create reusable code. So if I take a look, and people also ask, like, why is your initial migration your database? It's just what I prefer. If you look at this, you can see the initial structure of all the tables. You're right, we could have written this with SQL, but having written it with connects, I can use the exact same linter and style guide that I'm using for all of my other code. I can write reusable functions that you can't exactly do with data definition language in SQL. But for example, this creates the user table. So connect schema create table user. And then the other thing is I can have basically an enum of all of my table names that's reusable in my data definition language and also reusable in my models and my queries. I don't have to have strings everywhere, whereas you might have to do that if you're just using SQL to create it and then you're using models for something else. It's what I like to do. This is my preference. Okay. And so this is creating a table called user. It's adding a non-nullable ID column. It's adding an email column that is not nullable and unique. It's adding a name column that's not nullable. It's adding a password with a maximum length. It's adding a last login date. I have this nice little utility function called create name table. All this does is create a table with the defaults, like created at, updated at, deleted at, and then a varchar 255 name column. But we have that in multiple places, because if you look at the model, we have item type, shape, country, state. All of those are very similar in that they're very simple tables. And so this nice little reusable function, you just tell it what's the name of the table, and it automatically creates those tables for you. Inventory location. So we're hashing the password at the in the application, not in the database. I mean, the Node.js code that inserts into the database hashes the password. We're not doing we're not hashing the password with a database function. I'll show you that. Yeah, so this creates the tables, and basically you have this similar syntax for all the other tables, and that's the data definition language. Now, connects also has a querying language, so you create the tables, and then you eventually would need to query them. And that I also prefer as well. A lot of people are like, why don't you just use SQL code? You then end up having strings in your source code, which I don't like. Hashing the hash word. Theater Geek, thank you for that 3-month resub. But what I'll show you is... basically, the application code is the stuff that will hash the password. So if you can look at our seeds that like inserts our initial user, and this uses bcrypt with 12 rounds to hash the password before it inserts it. But I realize you could have a hashing function in your database itself, but we're just doing it at the application level. Okay, and then if we want to take a look at some of the queries, so that took us like 2 or 3 streams just to create all of the tables, and you can go and watch that there. But then after that, we started creating an actual Express API. And so you can take a look at the app.js, which is just your standard Express API setup, like so. And then we've started creating API routes. So if you look in the API folder, there are routes for addresses, for like listing all of the addresses in the system, listing the companies, or creating a company, listing the items, listing all of the states, listing all of the users. We also have seeds, which I didn't talk about. So if you look at our seeds directory, actually, I think is there a seed sources? Yeah. So we have, I think, 250 countries that are seeded into the database, and all 50 US states that are seeded in. Eventually, we might want to seed in countries or provinces from other... states or provinces from other countries as well. But right now I'm focused on the US because that's where I am. But basically we found these CSV files that had all of this, and we wrote the code that inserts that initial data of like states and countries into our database. And then that's actually being used in the API endpoints. So let's just take, for an example, take a look at, I think we'll take a look at states, because one thing is, so I'm using connects for some things. So connects is used to create the tables, to query, do like very basic queries, but we actually are using an ORM. We're using an ORM called objection. And objection is an ORM. I just said that, but it's an object relational mapper, meaning it's a bit higher level than a query builder. You're not writing code that translates directly to SQL statements. It allows you to define relationships between your models, and it automatically generates the join SQL code that you would need to write those kinds of queries. So that's objection, and we're using that for some of our endpoints. But for example, like the states endpoints are very simple. So if you look at the routes, one of them is list all states, or one of them is find a state by ID. And that's just referencing queries. And this is how you do a select star from table name in connects. That's it. Or select star from table name where ID is equal to that ID. That's how you do that in connects. So I feel like you are rushing. I am. We have... I've done all this explanation, and I have like less than an hour to code now. So I am rushing. I am. I guess I shouldn't. I don't know. Okay, so back to the question. Back to the rap god. Back to the question about why not GraphQL. Mainly because I am not familiar with it, and also it's just a totally different thing, right? Like, so like designing all of these API endpoints. So if we look at each of these folders, each of these has routes defined. And actually, I could probably show you in Insomnia, because each of these has routes defined, right? We have our items route. We can get all items or create an item. We can get all companies right now. We can get all addresses or create an address. We can sign up. We can get all states or get one state. We can get all users. These are the routes that exist. You do you. Well, thank you. And Ping Tick, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. And so I'm just used to creating REST APIs. I just have not done things with GraphQL. I realize that there are some benefits to GraphQL. There are also some things that are not benefits in GraphQL. And so people have talked about this before, but eventually, once we create like a mobile app, we could have a barcode scanner that automatically adds items in. Yeah, and so Sequelize would be your other option if you did want to choose an ORM. I've used Sequelize on a very large Node.js project, and I did not like it at all. I've used Objection on a very large Node.js project, and it was great. Sequelize is very, I guess, like rigid. They do things in a... it's fine. It's fine for simple applications, but once you start doing like more nested complex relationships, it really breaks down. Yeah, there's micro ORM. There's a lot. We live in a world where people can have opinions, and then the people with opinions that are smart enough can take those opinions and turn it into software. And then we have more choices. But this is what I've chosen to do. This is what and we're already deep into it. I mean, like I said, this is like the 10th or 11th time live stream. And so this is what we're using. This is what we've decided. Like has been mentioned, there are lots of different things that could be replaced. I'll just mention that TypeORM is not very good. I mean, it's fine on the surface, but look at this. Look at the GitHub repo and see that there are 2,000 open issues, meaning people have found bugs, or they don't know how to do a certain thing, and nobody's responding. So if you look at TypeORM, there are 2,000 open issues and 187 pull requests. So sure, if you use TypeScript, this or micro ORM might be your best bet. But we're using Objection. Let's look at their GitHub repo. 28 open issues, right? Like, this thing is very well maintained. The docs are awesome, and it's very easy to use. They have a recipe book, all that good stuff. Okay, but also, I mean, TypeORM, again, is probably fine for simple applications, but I've seen larger applications, and it just starts to break down. It's not So, okay, let's stop talking about opinions and let's just write some code, because that's what we're here to do, is to actually write some code. And so I'll show you the code. And for those of you that have been following, what's up, Andrew? For those of you that have been following along, what I'll show you is, last night I actually set up linting in Prettier. Mainly so that I can accept pull requests in an easier way. It's all right, everyone. Totally Sane is here. I thought we were here to have fun. We are. We're here to have fun in code. That's our motto. We're here to have fun in code. But I'll show you. I set up a basic Prettier RC. I changed my name from Robinson. Hey, well, thank you, System 100. Yeah. Thank you. Happy coding. How can you open your VS Code from the terminal? In VS Code, if you go to File... Oh, actually, no. Command-Shift-P or Control-Shift-P, and then search for Install. There is something about path. Yeah, here it is. Install the code command in your path. So if you run that, then it allows you in your terminal to just type code. Code, yeah. But before that, you need to make sure that you put it in there. Blasphemy! Yeah. All right, we're going to write some code. But this is my basic Prettier config, and then I have in my ESLint, I have the Prettier base rules, the Prettier plugin, and then I have the Prettier rules. So it works in conjunction with ESLint to also have opinions about like new line formatting and stuff like that. Weatherman style. Okay, was that useful? For anybody that's new here, can you just type smile in the chat if you're ready to code and you kind of get an idea for what we're doing and why we're here. Smiles in the chat. 32 we got 32 follows while I was just sitting there talking about this stuff. Okay, Yakant, thank you for the follow. Yazova, thank you for the follow. Maharper, thank you. Eric, thank you. Ace K, what's up? Chocolate Milk, thank you for the follow. M Crifty, thank you. Googleplex. Zolzapan, thank you for being here. What's up, Code? Hello, my name is. Welcome. What's up, Kuso? And that dude you knew. And Mural and Atomic, welcome to the show. What's up, the Dups and Drew and Tharugo and USB777, thank you for the follow. What's up, Ganjir? Thank you for that follow. B Sorel, thank you for the follow. 19 Razor, thanks for following. Adrianar, BZQ, thank you for following. Tony, Lord of Dance, thank you for following. Fluffless, thanks for the follow. Scooter, thank you for following. One Love. One love. Can we get some hearts in the chat? One love. Thank you for that follower. Silver Star. Lady Burritos, thanks for being here. What's up, SL Generation? The Integer. Mins. Politsai. Ribbles and Dr. Shups and Ted's Twin and Lollisup and Dirthanilius. Thank you all for those follows. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Clap. 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 What is GraphQL used for? I guess I'll talk a quick thing about GraphQL. So the thing about GraphQL is it kind of flips the way things work. So with a REST API, we are strictly defining all of the different HTTP endpoints that clients can call to get data. Claps. So we're defining endpoints to get all of the addresses in the system or create addresses. We're defining endpoints, and each one of these is a different HTTP request. And if you take a look at Insomnia, you can see that this is the URL you hit to get the list of all the items. It's not. We need to start the server, but I'll show you in a second. This is the URL you would call to get all of the company. So with REST, all of the different ways of getting data are tied to a specific URL. And some specific action like get, post, put, delete. Whereas with GraphQL, that's not the case. With GraphQL, there's a single endpoint, and on that endpoint, you send a request that has your query inside of it. So the client is actually able to ask for specific data. Whereas here, we've defined all of the endpoints, and you have to call those specific endpoints. It's just two different ways of doing it. This is nice. It also has some drawbacks. REST is nice. It also has some drawbacks. It's self-documenting. Sure, yeah, it's nice that it can generate the schema and stuff like that. Yeah. It solves problems and creates others, just like everything else in the world. Yeah, I do have to work today, so we only have about an hour right now to write some code. Nothing is perfect. This is right. All right. What are we gonna do? I don't know. So we have this, which shows us which endpoints we don't have just yet, because eventually we want to create these endpoints. I want to be a backend developer. Can I go without learning the front end at all? This is tricky. The thing is, it depends on the company. It depends on where you are in the world, like what country you're in. But a lot of what I've seen is people typically don't hire junior backend developers. To them, like being junior is like being a front end developer. So I don't know. It's tricky. It's probably possible to go straight into backend development, but it seems like it'd be a little bit harder. I don't know. Would I recommend Windows, Linux for web dev? It doesn't matter. You can use anything you want. I use a Mac, but you do you. All right. We have addresses endpoints. We have companies. I think I'm going to go ahead and start things up. So we are using, we have a Docker container for our database. That should start it up. And I realize I'm just going to say this, and so many people in the chat are going to be like, put it in a Docker container. But our node.js API is not yet in a Docker container. So we just start that up locally. It communicates with the database that is running in the Docker container. And then we can do this. So I can get companies. Right now there are no items. Let's actually create an item because I reseeded my database, so they're not in there. I should be able to get all states, put it in a Docker container. I can get a state by ID. But the IDs have changed because I ran seeds like 10 different times. So ID 1005 gives us California. Great. Technically, I could reset the ID column in the seed. I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to get some endpoints done. But let's go ahead and create an item. So this was a big deal last time because we had been talking about baked beans for the longest time. We'd been talking about these for the longest time. But finally, last time we actually put them in our database. So yeah, that's the thing. But the IDs have changed. So we need company ID 21 and then item type. I have no idea what the item types are. Is it 9090? No. I'm going to go to the Postgres admin interface. We're using adminner 8090. All right, we're using Postgres. Server name is DB. I have no idea what the username and password is. Admin, the most secure password you can use. There we go. And if we look at item type, ID 21 is canned goods. Great. Security. All right. This is for my local database as well. Okay, why is this complaining? The user ID is probably wrong. Yeah. So item user ID foreign. Okay, we need to see what the user IDs are as well. And I think so we see the database with just like a single user. 22. So 22. Here we go. Nice. All right. So the can of baked beans is in our database again. And then if we do a GET request to get all items, we should see that can of baked beans. Great. Now, I honestly don't know what to do next. If we think about it, technically we still have a few endpoints that we need for. We have a lot of endpoints we need for like items and such. So like right now you can just list and create items, but you can't update items. You can't get a single item by ID. Wait. Actually, we don't have item info yet, do we? That might be what we do next. I think that makes sense to go there. So here's the thing. At least you're honest. Yeah. So here's what we've done so far. We have API endpoints for updating the company table, the address table, and the item table, but we don't have the item info table yet. So what we did last time was the item table, which is the general idea of a can of baked beans. But we now probably should work on item info, which is one individual can of baked beans. You think we should start writing a UI? Now I want to have the API done, and then we can just do after the API is done, then we can start building front ends and whatever we want. Thank you, Bilza. Yeah, we got some, hello, Cruiser. How's it going? We got some redemptions. Thank you, Slake, for the hydrate. Cheers. Yes, sir. Cheers. Keysmon, cheers. Pseudo, thank you for the stretch. Mr. Demon Wolf has redeemed focus mode. I think we'll use that to create the item info routes, but that's where we're going next. We're going to create API endpoints where you can add one specific item that has the item ID. So like these endpoints that I just hit created the general idea of a can of baked beans, and this has ID 4. And now we want to insert item info that will have like a specific expiration date. Like this one expires April 2021, and this one expires March 2021. But these will be two separate entries in the item info table. Okay, we'll do a focus mode. Think of that hydrate. Cheers. Cheers as well. Think of the posture check. Let's make an Electron app. Why do I have so many beans? I have even more beans. I mean, we're in a pandemic. If you don't have canned goods, then you're the one who's messing up. You need canned goods. We're in a pandemic. You got to stay at home. I mean, at least in the US, we have to stay home. Okay, so we're going to go into focus mode for 16 minutes, and we're going to create some API endpoints. Now, here's what we need to think about. So right now, we have the endpoint is API v1 items. This gives us the general items like can of baked beans, Arduino RGB LED. So these describe the general items. And what I think we should have a nested route. I think we should have like items /for/ item infos. And this gives us back an array of all of the specific instances of that item. I think that's what we might want to do there. The other way to go is just to have a root level route that's like item infos, where that could potentially give us back all of them, and then we could start to filter it and say like where item ID is equal to 4, and that only gives us the ones where item ID is equal to 4. I think I'm going to go with the nested route. Actually, let's vote on it. We're going to do a poll. What's up, S-Fox? Welcome to the show. Top level. Nested. All right, you have 1 minute to vote. Vote now. If you search for coding, your Twitch channel is the first result. Well, that's nice. Explain again. Okay, so there are two ways of doing it. So we could do item /for/ item infos. And so these routes are all related to the specific instances where the item ID is 4. In this case, item ID 4 is Bush's Baked Beans. Or we have a root level route that is just item infos. And then from there, we'll have query parameters like where by default, there are no query parameters, so it returns everything. But you could say, give me the only the ones where item ID is equal to 4, that kind of thing. And so these are the things you have to think about when building a REST API. Whereas if you're doing it with GraphQL, you typically don't, because you just structure the data and then it handles all that. Oh, thank you, Elite Rose. We're trying. Is the poll already over? No, the poll's... You still have time? You still have time? All right, people are saying nested. I like nested. Eagle Lips, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate you. Let's do it. So here's what we're going to do. Right now, the items routes are defined here. So these are the top level routes. So API v1 / items. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new router inside of items called item infos. And I might actually create a separate... we would need a separate model too. So I'm going to do a nested folder. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to call this item infos. And inside of there, it itself is going to have a model. But it's going to be looking at the item infos table. Yeah. Query params are ugly. When would I recommend using GraphQL over REST? It's up to you. I don't have any recommendation. Do the research, I guess. And so let's call this the item infos model. And we need to bring in the table names, and then we are going to define a schema. So this is the item info. So at this point, we're using objection. So objection is going to allow us to define the model that talks to that specific item info's table. And so we'll do table names.item info. Now, I'm in JavaScript. We're not using TypeScript, but this is one of the nice things about doing something like having an enum style object with the table names is I can just reference it, and VS Code is still going to give me autocomplete, even though we're in JavaScript. Because that's the table we're looking at, item info. I don't have to type the string. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, great. And now let's actually define the schema. And for this, we're just using JSON schema. So one thing that I like about objection models is that it can use a JSON schema. And what's nice about that is I can use that exact same JSON schema to validate incoming request bodies, different things like that. Or I could use it for API documentation. So that's one of the things I like about objection is this reusable JSON schema stuff. All right, so we're going to copy from this, but we're going to create a new one. Schema.json. The title is item info. The item info. And then we can look at our database table. So we're specifically creating a model that corresponds to this table here. And so we kind of need all of these columns. If we look in the visual browser here, this might be easy enough to copy. Yeah, why not? Let's just copy that. And then we'll turn these into JSON properties. So if we look at these, ID is not required because ID would be created or generated by the database. User ID is required because this is like the purchaser ID. It's the user that's associated with that item. And I guess we need to look at which of these have like a non-nullable constraint. So expiration date can be null, purchase date cannot be null, and item ID cannot be null. So those two are required. Item ID and purchase date, we need them. Expiration date, retailer ID, last used, can all be null. Cool. Purchase price, I think this will just default to 0 if it's not defined. Let's not require purchase price. Let's see what happens. MSRP price, also not required. And then we actually do need inventory location ID. So this is where is it in our house? Is it in the basement? Is it in the pantry? Is it in the fridge? That kind of thing. So these are the things that are required when creating item info. Would I do any of the joins here? Not right now. So right now we're doing just like flat things where, and you kind of saw this earlier. So when we created an item, we explicitly specified the ID. So we would have to know the IDs to be able to create items. I mean, eventually you could do something like, you could do this, and then you could say like item infos, eventually. And then item infos itself is an array. And then each one of these is one of those nested items. And we could actually do in objection what's known as a graph insert, because it would create this item and then it would insert each one of these into the nested table. We're not going to do that right now though, which is why I'm creating the separate routes. But what we could do is whenever we're querying for items, we actually could include, so here's the item info, but we could include an item info's array, that did potentially a join or a nested select to get all the related item infos, and those would appear here. Yeah. How did Funny Dude gift me a sub? They can gift it to anyone. That's how gifting works. Okay. That's great. Now, I should have kept those properties copied. We're going to do this again. So when people, well, at least the way that I'm aware of Twitch gifting works is if the user has followed or even watched the stream in the past, it's possible that they might actually be gifted, even if they're not watching the stream right now. Usually, anyways. I mean, this is all I need. I just need to make sure that I have all of these. Okay, so we have ID. There is no name. We're going to need user ID, which I think we have down here. Yeah, so we have user ID. We're going to need item ID. So I'm just going to copy this. Yeah, Nando says, I've been gifting the sub when not watching. Yep. So the database... The ID of the parent item, I guess, is what we'll call that. We then have purchase date, which is of type timestamp. I'm curious if we have any models that have a date type on them already. Yeah. Okay, so we have item ID. We need the inventory location ID. One thing I forgot about is we actually don't have any inventory locations in our database, so we're going to need to seed those. So we'll do that probably before we do this. The ID of the inventory location, that's great. I'm going to see how to do a date in JSON schema. JSON schema, date. It's probably a string type because ultimately when it gets serialized, it just gets turned into a string. Type string format date time. Yeah, I think this is what we want. Invisible cut. Type string format date. We're going to go with that. So we need another property called purchase date. The type is string, and then the format is date, like that. The date of purchase. Cool. And then same thing for expiration date. The date of expiration. Great. Retailer ID. I forgot about that. So this is where did we buy it? And we also don't have retailers in our system yet either. We would need to seed the retailers. Retailer ID. Great. The ID of the retailer. Last used. This is also a date. rate, purchase price, and MSRP, and those are real. What is real? Is that like a floating point? I guess, is it a decimal? I don't even know. Item info. What's up, Y2A? Welcome to the show. Okay, if we take a look at our our item table migration, real is the opposite of fake. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Oh, it's a float. Yeah, it's interesting that Postgres is showing it as real. Yeah, it's a float though. Does expiration date equal warranty end for items other than food? Expiration date can be null. So it's possible to not have an expiration date. I would think if we want to store warranty information, we actually might store that separately. Yeah. I believe real is the currency in Brazil. Cool, yeah, it's floating point. I was just curious why. I've never seen it shown as real, but adminner is showing us real instead of floating point. Okay, so we need a purchase price. So here's the thing. In JavaScript, all numbers are floating point. So I have to look up on JSON schema, if I just put number here instead of integer, I think that's what I need to do, because there is no, I don't believe there is a float type, but we'll see. So we have purchase price, and then we have manufacturer suggested retail price, MSRP. Cool. JSON schema has both number and integer. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. But yeah, JSON schema float. I don't think JSON has decimal. Make everything a string. Number type is used for any numeric type, either integers or floating point numbers. Yeah, that's fine. I guess we could technically do some validation here and say like the minimum price is 0. Why not? Let's do that here. You cannot have a negative price. MSRP or a negative purchase price, right? Anyway, tell me if this is a bad idea to set the minimum of 0, so you can't have negative. Actually, did we even set them to... Yeah, no, I guess we didn't. You actually can with coupons. They pay you. I feel like we would store that data separately, though, right? Is that possible? To pay negative money with a coupon? Extreme couponing? They give you money back? Okay. No? We don't know what it's going to be called. The minimum price should be 0.01, since all items should have a value. It could have been free, though. If it was free, I want them to put 0. Yeah, I don't think they'll give you money back. All right, I'm gonna keep it as 0. That should be fine. Okay, so we have those two things. Looks good to me. This is our schema. If it breaks, we'll figure that out when we get there. This now, our routes or our model brings in the schema and then registers it here. So this is a objection model that uses that JSON schema, which is great. Minimum price is good. SanDisk sold M2 NVMe. Wait, negative 199? You paid them? We'll see you at the Coding Carter. Thanks for dropping by. Okay, that's fine. So this is our model. Let's go ahead and create the routes. And after we do that, we're going to have to seed, I believe we're going to have to seed the inventory location table, because inventory location is required. So we need to seed the database with a few locations that we can use in our creation here. Yeah, I've been coding for about 30 minutes. Really, all you've missed, honestly, if you know the inventory app, all you've missed is the fact that we're creating an item infos model and an item infos schema. That's it. That's all you've missed. All right, let's create some routes. So we're gonna grab the model. I'll buy it for -$100. It went nuts and it was negative pricing. That's interesting. I see. All right, so that gives us the. Why is this happening? Weird. That gives us our model. We technically could request. No, okay, so this is where it gets interesting, because if we think about what we were talking about before, the way these routes are going to work is you do items/id/item infos, like that. Actually, what about this? No, okay, so this is why I like this is why I want to do this. So what I was thinking was we could do this. So item/id, and then whenever you do that, that gives you back the item itself, and then like a nested array of all of the item infos. But yeah, it's so I can actually call it whatever I want, but I was using the example here where I just call it singular whenever we bring it in because that's how we query it. But I can call it either. I think I'm going to call it singular. I don't know. Item/item ID. Yeah, so, okay. This is what I'm discussing right now. So why would we not do this? Because of pagination. And so we technically could have nested pagination, but then it would get messy, right? Because let's say we have 1,000 cans of beans, right? So those are all item ID type 4. Right, so item ID 4, and then if I request this, we could have a nested array of 1,000 items that are each instance of the bush baked beans. Now, I could do some sort of pagination, like limit 100 offset 3, and so like, or I don't know, offset equals 100, something like that. And that could tell us only request the next 100. But by having it in a nested route, it makes more sense to do the pagination there. Because if I do item/4/item infos, now we're only going to be getting an array of the item infos themselves. And these query parameters make a little bit more sense for pagination. Some serious stockpiling, yeah. I mean, you could have 50 of one item. What I'm thinking of is all of my like electronic parts and pieces. Like I have 50 LEDs or like 50 resistors or whatever. Yeah, so items for fields all or items fields in item infos. Right. But if you do fields item infos, then how do you specify the pagination? Oh, nice, DevEv. Thanks for being here. 50 beans all in one can. Yeah, and so this is where, I mean, these are the decisions we have to make because we could do this. But what I'm saying is then the pagination query parameters don't make as much sense because you want to tie them to a specific field. Oh, the offset changes. So the offset starts off as 0. So, well, this is how pagination works. If limit is 100 and offset is 0, this is going to give you the first page of 100 items. Then if you say offset equals 100, that's going to give you the second page of 100 items. And then offset equals 200, that's the third page. So this was just an example of what the query might look like. Yeah. This is for fun. This is all for fun. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the nested route. Yep, if you type !FAQ, you'll get a link to the frequently asked questions, and then in there is a link to all of the overlay stuff. Fields all, limit 100, offset 100. But how do I know that these query parameters, limit and offset, are specific to the item infos? Because this is requesting one single item, bush baked beans, and it has a lot of properties. So I'm going with a nested route. You can do whatever you want, but I'm going to go with the nested route. So that means that this specific endpoint for the item infos is going to have an item ID in the URL. So it's going to be, actually, no, we'll do this because we're going to register it in the parent. Just use GraphQL. Kappa. So this should be a basic query to give us all of them. And we should be able to create them too. This is going to be easy. Item info, insert. Yeah, I agree. Okay, this is too easy. Use SOAP with XML. But now we have this nested router, and we want this nested router to be mounted on this router here. So what we could say is right here, we say router.get slash item ID slash item infos. And so now all the item infos routes are going to be nested within this. I think this will give us nested query params. We'll see. But I need to pull in the item infos router. Like that. Yeah. This should be fine. And now if I do this, we should get an empty array. Not found. Nash, thank you for that subscription. My screen keeps freezing. It could be that your stream is freezing in that the way you're I don't know. You're watching me. You're watching me in a web browser and the stream there is freezing. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, this didn't work. Items/for/item infos not found. We did a get. Oh. Well, it technically should work. But I'm going to go ahead and move this route registration up here. Yeah, I'm not sure, Metsubo. The mods will let you know why they might have deleted a message. Is it because it's registered as items? Let's take a look. If we look at this, yeah, so this should be items. And DJ CJ, thank you for the 100 bits, who says words are hard. You're not wrong. And so that would be /items/item ID /item info. Oh, well, I guess I should probably say router.use. That's why. Router.use, right? Because now, technically, we could define a post route in here, but it would have that URL. Right. That's what I want. I want router.use. And then this says if it's a GET request, return them all. But if it's a POST request, we're going to create one that has that specific ID. All right. This is it. Winner. Nice. Empty array. And so technically, if there were any item infos in the database, then this would have, for item ID 4, this should have given us back, or would have given us back 2 entries for the 2 cans of baked beans. Great. It's technically a second try. That's fine. All right. So now if we should be able to do a post request here to create an item info. And then we need all of those properties here. So, well. Oh. This is I need to create a new folder here, or a new item. Okay. So this is get all items. Great. And then we need a nested folder in here called item infos. And then this has a request that's get all item infos by ID, like that. And then we have another request in here that is create one, which is a post request against that URL. And no, this should be a get items. Great. Post items. Awesome. Okay. Now we need to create items info. We need some properties. So if we take a look at our schema, These are the required properties. We can define other properties, but these are the ones that we absolutely need when creating. What if I want all item infos? We could create another like top level route. Yeah. And so we've talked about this before, but this is what's somewhat tricky about defining the API first without the UI, because you might think like, how is this data actually going to be used? And so there probably is a page that is a list of all the items in our inventory, but is there? Would I really ever want to see all items in the inventory? I would probably want to group by location, and we can have routes for that as well. Yeah, so we'll get there, but I think for now this is good enough for at least just listing the item out and listing the items out and creating the info itself. And Jeeper, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. But yeah, you may want to see all the items. It depends though. You probably want to search for items, and maybe you want to see like most recently added items. That still potentially would be separate routes from this, because these are items for a specific item type. The notification sounds are loud? I can turn them down. Does anyone agree? Was that loud? The real Pygon, thank you for the 100 bits. Should I turn that sound down? And good job, Arnav. Great job. Okay. Awaited says no. I guess in comparison to my voice. Too many beans equals a raid. A bit loud. Oh, it's the sub one? Okay, item ID. Actually, we don't... So here's the thing. We're not going to specify the item ID in the request, because we should be able to get the item ID from the URL. Purchase date. I guess it's today. How do ISO dates work? 0828. And then this is the thing that we're going to need to see. So we don't have an inventory location ID. Hey, I got it right. Thank you, MP. So the inventory location ID, we don't know yet. Let's just say it's going to be ID 1. Cool. Now, what we need to do inside of the route is we need to set the item ID based on the URL. So like in our route right here for creating, we would say like rec.body.item ID should be rec.params.item ID. Like that. Let's see though. That should set it. But we'll see. Let's actually just try to create it. Let's see what error we get. Anyone who doesn't use year, month, day is a monster. Yeah, so I think the main advantages over Insomnia is you don't need an account. I've had issues with Postman before where I got logged out of my account and then all of my saved requests were gone. It wouldn't let me use them locally. Yeah. So yeah, this is Node with Express. Yep. Okay, let's try to create it. Let's see what happens. Oh, no. We want to do a post request. Sorry. And Ninosaur, thank you for the 100 bits. So here on create one, we'll specify a JSON body. We should get an error. We should get an error that there is no inventory location with that ID. I think that should be the only error we get. Let's see. Item ID is required. Oh. That means that we're not getting it in the request params. I don't know. Has anybody done this before? Where basically this nested router needs access to the route params or the query params that were specified in the mount of it itself. I can use any new design and sign into Postman. Yeah, so so Postman is potentially nice for working on teams because you can share collections and stuff like that. I've just had issues. Insomnia is nice enough. I believe so. Let's see. If we look at Insomnia, I could take inventory app and export it. Can I not export it? Move, rename, duplicate. There's got to be a way. Oh, you're right. Item underscore ID? Yeah. So rec.param. Let's just log rec.params. Let's see what we get. Make postman in JavaScript. Let's just see what we get. This is just Express. There's no framework. I mean, Express is the framework. Express is a micro framework. Okay, here we go. Rec.params is empty. That's unfortunate. So basically, what's happening is this router is being mounted at an endpoint that has sad face hype train. What? Was there a hype train? Did I miss a hype train? Oh, I missed the hype train. Thank you all for the hypes. Okay, but what we need is express nested router route params. I mean, Express is kind of just a library too. It's a micro framework. They have some opinions, but they don't provide a lot out of the box. Invisible cup. Does anyone know how I might do this? So I'll explain the problem one more time. I can use them by route merge params. You can merge them by route merge params. How does that work? Code Show, what's up? Welcome to the show. Everyone should check out Code Show. They're a member of our Live Coders team. Thanks for being here, Code Show. And hello, Ludwika. Welcome to the show. But how does this work, Otzi official? Merge params in your express.router. Oh, I can pass in options. And then merge params should be true. Okay, but I think I need to specify this in the parent. Yeah, yes, very good. Thank you very much. Oh, and I like to keep pointing this out because I like JavaScript, but this is JavaScript. This is not TypeScript. I still get editor completion, right? Like I type that in because the Express library has their TypeScript types defined, or they even have JS doc defined. I can know what properties are. So I'm not like really in the dark here. All right, now we should get a database error. Item ID should be an integer. That's not a database error, but it's closer. So technically we should put this as a number here, like that. Streamlabs has lost its mind. What's happening? Here we go. This is what I wanted to see. Wait, item info user ID. Wait. I guess we don't have a user with ID 21. Let's get all users. What's the ID? 22. The ID is 22. So this actually needs to be 22. This is live. Yeah, what's up, Julio Coder? Welcome to the show. Yeah, this is the error that I wanted to see. Item info inventory location. It doesn't exist. So we need to seed that really quick. Let's do that. So in our seeds, we need to seed the inventory locations. And so if we look back at our database model, we have our item table, our item infos table. We also need inventory location. And now this is troubling. It's pink, which means have we not created it? Let me look over here. Do we not? Okay, never mind. We do have it. We do have inventory location. We just need to put some data inside of it. An inventory location is like upstairs, downstairs, pantry, freezer. This is not live. Yes, this is not. It's as live as you want it to be, basically. All right, we need some seeds. I'm gonna create a new seed file. Inventory. Actually, I'm gonna add it to this existing one because the beans. This is the initial beans seed. This is where we're seeding the Bush Baked Beans address and the Bush Baked Beans company. So why not? While we're already in this file, we're gonna seed our inventory locations. The whole world is pre-recorded. It's all a simulation. All right. So this is how you do a seed with connects. You just do a query. So I want to query on the inventory location table, and I want to insert an array. Oh, not an array, but I want to insert multiple items. And in this case, to insert multiple items, you specify an array. Each object in this array will get inserted. And our inventory location has a name, like kitchen, pantry, like that. We are all bots. It has a name and a description and an image URL that a description can be null. This is good enough. So the name is kitchen pantry. We have another one that says basement pantry. Another one that's like basement freezer. And then kitchen refrigerator? Fridge. We'll shorten it. It's fine. Behind the sofa. So these are all the possible places that it could be in my house. And specifically, these cans of baked beans are going to be in the basement pantry. So this should be ID 2 when this gets inserted, but let's see. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my entire database. Like, technically, I'll show you. Technically, I could run the seeds again, but because I'm not resetting the ID column, every time I run the seeds, the IDs change. So like right now, the ID of the user is 22, but if I run the seeds again, the ID is going to be 23. And right now, the ID of Bush Baked Beans is 4, but if I run the seeds again, it's going to go to 5. I mean, technically, I should reset the ID column. I probably should. But I don't got time for that, so I'm just going to drop my database. But if I do npm run seed, that's going to rerun those seeds. And now we should have some inventory locations. So if we look at the data, there we go. We have kitchen pantry, basement freezer, kitchen fridge, all that good stuff. And basement pantry is ID 2, so that's the ID I want to use. But if we look at user, its ID is 23. That's fine. We'll just use that. So now the item is changed. The item should be ID. Oh, we don't have items. We'll have to create an item. Actually, I'm just going to put that in my seeds. Or am I? No, we'll create an item. Let's go. Yeah, so the ID is now 23. I think the company ID is 22, and the item type ID is 22. There we go. So this is why it would make sense in my seeds to reset all of the IDs, so that way these are a little bit more predictable. I mean, the app technically still works, but this is fine. But now, this item has ID 7. So when I create item info, the URL header needs to be item 7, and then the inventory location needs to be 2. Oh, and then the user ID is now 23. Ooh. But it worked. So now, this represents 1 can of baked beans. Oh, I didn't put the expiration date. Well. Yeah, I'm using Postgres just because. No, if you really do want to know, if you want to see us make that, actually, no, we voted on it. Yeah. So you are in episode 11-ish, but if you go back to whenever we decided to implement it, I literally did a Twitch poll, and chat voted on Postgres, so that's why we're using Postgres. Okay. Because I felt like it, yeah. Well, okay. What are we doing? What did I just say I was going to do? What? What's happening? Expiration date? Yeah, okay. I should have put the expiration date. But now here's the thing. So here, check this out though. I should get back 1. Yeah, now there's 1 item info for the baked beans, but it has no expiration date, and we don't have an update route for it. I guess we could create an update route. Let's go ahead and do that. I have to go very, very soon. I have work today, so this is tricky, but we could do a put request to some specific item info ID, and that will update that item info where the ID is equal to that. Frogget Friends, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Use the force. Actually, I'll get rid of these param logs here too. Yeah, and I think the way this works, actually let's do a patch. Do a patch, so I don't have to specify all of the properties, just the properties that I want to update. Update. I think update accepts a where clause. Partial object. Oh, no, this would go in the query. So probably where ID is equal to rec.params.id, like that. And then the update is rec.body, like that, I think. I could look at the objection docs, but I think this will do it. So now if I do a patch request on that ID, I should be able to add it. Yeah, so the difference between put and patch is typically, in a REST API, patch is used to update only a few properties, like 1 or 2 properties, whereas put is usually used to replace the entire thing. And thank you, The Real Pygron, for those 100 bits. McDonald's. Are you a fan of McDonald's? So in this case, we're only going to send, I mean, we could send any property, but in this case, we're only going to send the expiration date property and we'll figure the code out. But we're going to hope that it actually just updates that one property. Let's try it. So we need a new request. I'm going to duplicate this one, and we're going to call this patch 1. Yeah. And so this will be a patch request. So to 7 item infos and then the specific ID of that item. In this case, the item ID is 4. So this is a patch to here. And we just want to set the expiration date to be March 2021. Now, how do expiration dates work? Is it the end of March? I would assume it's the end of March. And the Pygon, Real Pygon, thank you for the 100 bits. Apparently, Twitch wants me to keep cheering because my cheer panel is stuck open. Well, thank you for the bits. Patch the bits, put the whole, post to process. I like that. Yeah, so put updates the entire row. Patch updates one individual property. Better start eating beans. Okay, how many days are there in March? Well, let's go into 2021. March 31. Go. Purchase date is a required property. Item ID is a required property. User ID is a required property. So what's happening right now is it's running the validation for the creation. March 2001. It's running the validation right now for the entire thing instead of just the patch. I don't want it to do that. I want it to just validate a patch. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. Okay, that makes sense. Use .patch in objection. Thank you. I'm going to find it in the docs, but that's awesome. Let's look at patch. Oh. So patch, yeah, so instead of update, I actually want to do patch. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's good that they called it patch, too. All right, here we go. Builder.connects query builder is not a function. So we were using update before. Now we're using patch. Oh, and then I pass in find by ID. That's what I'm missing. So we don't pass in the ID here. We say patch and then find by ID rec.params.id. Okay, so I wanted to do this, but my prettier and linter put it back to this. So yeah, which is fine. All right, will this work? Let's try it. Go. 1. So that means that it updated 1 row. But what we want is we want to have the returned value itself. So actually, this is a nice little method: patch and fetch by ID. So it's going to patch it, and then it's going to return the entire item from the database. So let's do this: patch and fetch. Wait. Patch and fetch by ID. And Nanos 800 bits. What'd you say? I was sitting in traffic the other day. Probably why I got hit. Thank you, Nandos, for those 800 bits. That's a lot of bits. Okay. The name of the app have I been ignoring all of the break reminders? If you do !break, you can get a link to it. So this accepts an ID and then the updates. Why is this complaining? Oh, now it wants to fix that. All right, so I believe that worked, but now we should get back. Yeah, so by doing this handy little method, patch and fetch by ID, we get back the entire thing, and we can see that it now has an expiration date. So that's awesome. And if we get all of them, so before, expiration date was null. And let's take a quick stretch. So before, the expiration date was null, and then now, because we're able to update it, the expiration date is actually set. So that's great. So let's create another one. It was purchased today, but we're actually going to create it with the expiration date. First try. I mean, sort of. 2021. Oh yeah, and then this one is April. 04. How many days in April? 30? Yes, 30 days in April. Great. Let's go. Cool. So now that's in there as well. But now, if we get all item infos, that's going to give us those two, which is great. Can I remove a property using patch? I could set it. I couldn't remove it, but I could technically set it to null. So because this is a nullable column, I could technically do a request like this. But wait, it should be a string? Empty string. Would that work? My validation is kicking in. It's like, you can't do that. I probably could allow it to do that. In the schema, I could say probably allow null or something like that. Yeah. So, great. All right. So we can get all item infos. Look at this. So these two little objects here represent these two cans in my inventory. That's decent progress for today. I realize I need to put some more thought into these routes. We might just do a session like sometime next week or the week after, where we just design the API. Instead of implementing everything, we come up with like what are all the routes that we're going to create. So that way we can really talk through it. It'll be less code, but it's necessary. We do need to design this thing and figure out like what are our routes going to be. Because right now we're just coding the thing. 2 cans. What? 2 cans. Oh, I get it. 2 cans. 2 cans. Yeah, one thing that would potentially be cool to show is graph fetches and graph relations with objection, because right now I believe is it a graph fetch? It used to be like called with related join methods. Content. I think with related got deprecated recently. Graph inserts, upserts with graph fetched. Join related? Yeah, there's a function on it that's not called join though. So with graph fetched pets. Yeah. I'm just gonna, this will be the last thing I do. So the thing is, it goes against what we were saying earlier, because now if I get items info, or sorry, if I get, wait. I gotta be careful to not update these URLs. So this is create one. DJ CJ, thank you for the 300 bits. I'd like a session on API route planning. That's what I do at work currently, building APIs. Nice. Yeah, that'll be fun. I mean, we gotta plan it ahead of time, because like today, I just knew that I was going to be working on this thing. I didn't know what we were actually going to be doing. So yeah, JavaScript. All right, what am I doing? Got distracted. Wait. Yeah, so that has ID 7. Okay, so if we were to create a route, let's actually duplicate this. Get one. Oh, thank you, Nubin. I appreciate you. So if we were to create a route, get one, so like get item /7, this we could implement that really quick. That should be easy enough. So right now, we can do this. So we have a get route for one specific ID, and this is going to query the item table where deleted at is null. Procrastinator mastermind with 100 bits. Should I do this? Should I do this? Put your fists side by side, thumb against thumb. Then you can count the number of days and months by your... Oh yeah, I've done this before. I thought this was going to be some weird challenge. Put your fists side by side, thumb against thumb. And you can count the number of days and the months with your knuckles. Starting, oh, like this. Not like this, like this, like this. Starting left to right. A high is 31 days. So January, February, March, April, May, June. So January, February, March. March has 31 days. April has 30 days. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So July and August both have 31 days? Is that accurate? Magic. August has 31 and July has 31. Yep. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Hey, you learned something new today. Okay. How does this work? I want to get one by ID. Where deleted at is null. And where ID is equal to rec.params.id, like that. Okay, so this should allow me to get one item by ID. So if I do this, we should get back baked beans, right? But now, wait. I probably just want first or one. Is that a thing? Yeah, first. So grab the first one where the ID matches. And now it won't return an array, it'll just return the object. Great. But what if I want to do something like this? So in the docs, they were showing us with graph fetched. So I could say with graph fetched item infos, right? And so that should automatically select all of the item infos and set it as a property on it. If I do this, it'll probably break because there is no relation. Yeah, so unknown relation, item infos. But what we can do on our model is we can specify that relation. So if we take a look at the items model, we need to define the relationships. And here we can define a relationship to the item infos table via a one-to-many relationship, because one item can have many item infos. So let's do that. Let's set up relations. And we will do, let's look at an example. Yeah, so the model can have relation mappings. So let's do that right here. And then this just returns, oh no, it's a static property. It could be a static getter. Well, that's fine, but this is an object. We'll do a getter. I think my linter doesn't like this syntax, but we're just gonna do a getter, which is the same thing, but this returns an object with all of the relationship mapping. So in here, we basically define what tables is the items table related to. And so in this case, if we want a column or a property on the object called item infos, we can say that this is a one-to-many relationship. Has many. Yeah, has many relationship because one item has many item infos. So we'll do this. The relation is model dot has many relation. Great. The model class is going to be our item info model class, so we can import that in. Item infos. I should probably be consistent. It'll work. It'll work because I'm defining it this way. It'll work. If we look in the route, I'm calling it item infos. It's technically an array of item info. It's not the best name, but it is multiple. Okay. So what we need to do now is bring our item info model in here, so that way we can define a relationship to it. So right here we're saying that right now we're in the item model. The item has many item infos through this item info class, and then we specify how to join it. And so we join from, and I'm going to use a template string so that I can use my table names. Table names dot item. So go from item.id to another little template string. Table names dot item info dot item underscore ID. So this is how the relationship works out. The item info has a property called item ID. And if we look at the data that we're getting back, like here, it has a property called item ID, which represents the item itself, right? And so what we're saying is we want to join based on that. So this is 7, so join it with the item whose ID is 7, right? So now that we've done that, it should just work. Should just work. Yeah, look at this. Oh, no. Get one. Get one with ID 7. Yeah, so now this gives us back the item with ID 7, but it should have an item infos property, and look at that. It's automatically selected the nested data, so we can see that, okay, this is Bush's can of baked beans, and then it has a nested array that is each of the instances or each of the items themselves. So this is fine. And the reason I didn't do this earlier, though, so like what we actually have now is if I go to item/7/item infos, we get back just that array, right? Not the information itself. Wait. Oh, I thought there was only one. There are 2. Oh, thank you for the claps, everyone. And so, JSON. This is fine now because we only have a little bit of data, but where this breaks down is eventually if we have a whole lot, a query for a single item could potentially have a ton of data inside of it. And so people were mentioning earlier, you could do something like with fields, and you could say item infos. So you could specify like a comma separated list. What's the SQL behind it? I wonder if we can do debug. I can show you the SQL that's running, but it's a SQL join. Well, actually, this actually may not be a SQL join. If you look at the objection has a breakdown of how they do this, and instead of being a join, it might actually just be a select where ID in list of IDs. Can you do with graph joins so you're doing a join and not multiple selects? Yeah, so that's probably the main difference. And the result is the same with graph joined. The result should be the same. Well, so I'm looking at the SQL error here. It's so the two different The two different tables both have a deleted at column, and it's having an issue. It can't tell which deleted at column is which. But Doc has it. So with graph fetch is technically not doing a join. This is technically querying the nested table for all rows where item ID is equal to 7. That's all it's doing. We're actually doing two SQL queries here. The first query gets the item info. The second query gets all of the nested items. With graph joined, would have potentially attempted to do a SQL join, but we'd have to figure that out. We'll add it back and then comment it out so we can come back to it later. With graph joined to do, make this work. Content. Yeah, and so that's what's tricky about it. Like a default join without an ORM is when you join, you have duplicate columns, and basically you have. So if we were to do a SQL join, we would actually end up with 2 results, and each of those results would have all of these properties and all of these properties, and then all of these properties and all of these properties. Whereas this nested select didn't have to do anything extra. It basically just selected from the other table and then specified it as an array column. Well, thank you, Akupadilla. You inspire me. Okay, so that's fine. What did I want to do? I don't know. I think I'm done. I got to go to work. That's it. That's all you get. We wrote some code today, though, right? Yeah, and so joins are why we should want it to get it working, because that's what SQL databases are really good at. Oh, I remember. I was going to do something like items 7, like with fields. Item infos, something like that. I gotta go. Thank you all for tuning in. This is super fun. But what we learned today is that we need to do some planning. So it was fun to implement these routes, and we're getting them going. But we got to talk about API routes. Like, what API routes do we actually need? What will be the structure of our endpoints and such? That kind of thing. I will not be streaming tomorrow. No, I've switched to a 3-day-a-week stream. So here's the thing. I broke, like a year ago, I broke my left arm. And now it's very hard for me. Look, it's very hard for me to actually move this. So that's easy. I can do this, like Scout's Honor. But this hand, if you look, this one doesn't bend right. I can't do it. But I'm streaming. We'll do it the European way. I'm streaming 3 days a week. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm no longer streaming on weekends, at least for the next few weeks. We'll figure it out. But yeah, it was from skateboarding. I broke it skateboarding. It was dumb. I fell face first into a bowl and tried to catch myself. It was a dumb. Have I lost the saxophone notes? What? What are you talking about? Oh, no. I mean, I can still have movement. I just can't. I mean, look at that. With a little bit of practice, I can do it. So, it just takes some doing. I want to get used to showing numbers like Europeans, like this, right? Is that all of Europe? Does everyone do this? Like in the U.S., we count with or we show numbers with our pointer finger. Or no, it's like this. It's like this. Sorry, it's not like this. It's this. You start counting at your thumb, like 1, 2, 3, like that. Yeah, most definitely. No, it's this. Right? It's this. We don't do that. No, you do this, right? You do this. Use the thumb. Yeah. There's that movie about that spy in the German army, and like he asked for 2 beers instead of 2 beers, and they immediately knew that he was American. Yeah, that's a thing. It's all in your head. You got this. Thank you, Rabonimus. All right, I'm gonna go. You all are great. Stick around for the raid. I don't know where we're going, but wherever we go, it's gonna be a fun time. In the chat, if you do !raid, bye. Thanks for being here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. No caps. No cap. You'll get a link to this site, and if you click this, if you're a sub, this is your sub raid. I said good day, sir. And then if you click this, this is your, if you're not a sub, click that link. Well played. Yeah, thanks for being here, everyone. We don't do the thumb. Never knew that. Yeah. This way. Oh, he was on time today? Yeah, we might rate him. I usually like to rate someone with like a lower number of viewers, just to share the love. But we'll see. We'll see who's live. If no one else is live, we'll raid Kit for sure. Chief Mustardo, thank you for that 4-month resub. I appreciate you. Alrighty, everyone. The next stream is planned for Monday morning, around the same time. Hopefully, I won't be late. I'll get some good sleep this weekend. And yeah, I'm gonna push this code to GitHub. If you're curious, all of the links and such are there. Also, all of the links and such are here. If you click on that link, all the code I wrote today, all that good stuff is there. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you for being here. Wherever you are in the world. Wait. I want to... My chat. my chat is frozen. Let's do this. All right, wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.